Next, public Wi-Fi. So, public Wi-Fi is a non-secure, or non-password protected network that users can connect to for free. Typically, they are found in hotels, coffee shops, libraries and many other places. They are the way that you can get on the internet, so that you can surf the internet on your laptops or on your cell phones, without having to spend your data limits. So, what you need to do when it comes to these public Wi-Fi is not to assume that the network named library is actually the wireless network for the public library. Lots of times, malicious actors will go and they'll set up a Wi-Fi hotspot at a library. They'll call it the public library or the hotel. These people are hoping that others will connect to these fake networks. Then they'll send sensitive information over them, because if you do that, they can intercept what's being sent. So, that's what they're hoping for. Something very important is to verify with the business owner the name of their network, so you make sure that you're connecting to the proper one and you're not connecting to a malicious network. Public Wi-Fi, in general, is very insecure. So, you should treat every single public Wi-Fi connection as compromised or unsafe. What this means is that you should not utilize any sensitive websites when connected to them. This includes your banking and social networking sites. The reason is all of that data can be intercepted by someone else on the network, or can be a fake or malicious network, and now they've just stolen all of your passwords and all of the data that you've just entered in while connected. So, if you need to access any of these sensitive websites, utilize your cell phone and do not connect it to Wi-Fi. Then, it makes it much harder for someone to steal any information that you are sending over the internet, because you are not connected to that Wi-Fi anymore. You're just using your cell phone service. So, some top tips for utilizing public Wi-Fi are: verify the Wi-Fi name with the business owner prior to connecting, treat all connections as compromised or unsafe, and utilize an anti-malware, antivirus, endpoint security product to help prevent against cyber attacks while connected. Sometimes, not only do they try to just get your passwords and information that you type in, sometimes people will try and break into your computer itself. Now that you're on a public Wi-Fi, they can see your computer on the network. Lots of times, they'll try and hack into your computer. So, having an antivirus, anti-malware, or endpoint security product can go a long way in preventing those cyber attacks from ever happening, or someone compromising your computer, tablet, or phone itself. Next, the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is basically any non-traditional devices that are connected to the Internet, like thermostats, cameras, and baby monitors, allowing you to see your baby when you are not at home, or to change the temperature on your way home. But they might also open up a security hole. If your camera can be accessed via the Internet, there's a potential that someone else could access it as well. Sometimes people forget to change the password on these devices. They take them out of the box and plug them in. Or they might buy a camera without knowing that it contains web access. Make sure to disable this feature if not used. Make sure all of your devices are kept up to date by looking at the vendor or manufacturer's website, or by logging into your device itself. Usually these updates are not just to add features, but are patches or updates made to close security holes that they've found over the years. Lots of people don't realize that routers should immediately be changed from the default username and password to something unique. Everyone out there who has an X-brand router will know that password to log into yours. If someone gains access to your router, they can see all of the other devices on your network. Now, they can find out which devices they can take over, which devices can I utilize for my benefit, which devices can I then plan to take over, or maybe to watch the cameras that you have connected to the internet. Make sure that your router is regularly updated to the newest patches and to the newest firmware. You can either log into the router itself and see if it tells you if there's a new version or not. Or, go to the vendor's website, look up the model that you have, and see if there's any newer versions out. Make sure that you're always running the newest and latest version of the software, to make sure that your security won't be compromised. So, some top tips for Internet of Things are: change the default usernames and passwords on all devices, including your routers. If you do not utilize web features, disable them on all Internet of Things devices. Make sure all of your Internet of Things devices, including routers, are kept up to date with the newest firmware or patches that are provided. Like I said, vendors aren't going to email you and let you know that there's a new patch available. You have to actually seek it out. Go to their website or log in occasionally to make sure you're staying safe. Email protection. So, email protection covers a lot of different areas. Two-factor authentication, which we briefly touched on, password resets, spam protection, attachment policies are the ones that we'll go through here. First, two-factor authentication. We covered this a little bit earlier, but now it's focused more around the email. It's because email is the most important account needing protection, because if someone gains access to your email, they can utilize the password reset function to gain access to other services. Typically, when you press the password reset button, it sends you an email asking you, "Did you reset your password? Did you attempt to reset your password?" Typically, you just click a link and then you enter in your new password. So, as we mentioned earlier, two-factor authentication is a great way to protect your email from being compromised. I definitely recommend implementing it, so that someone can't just gain access to your email, then utilize it to reset all of your other passwords. So, you really want to make sure that's enabled if your service supports it. And most email providers, nowadays, support two-factor authentication. Companies will have guides on their website, not just to walk you through setting it up but how to use it as well. Then, once set up, the attacker would need your password and your cell phone in order to break into your email account. Password protect or utilize fingerprint reader to protect your two-factor app in case of a lost device. Most people have a password already on their cell phone, or a fingerprint reader. If someone were to know your password and they got access to your mobile device, they would also need your password or your fingerprint to get into your device. At that point, there's 3 different ways to break into your email. If possible, do not enable 2FA with SMS or text messages, but you want to use a mobile application or you want the code pushed to your device. If I know that someone has 2FA with SMS enabled, I can take the SIM card out of their phone and plug it into another phone. Now, my phone will be the one that receives that SMS message with the code. It's always good to just take the more secure option because it really isn't adding any extra difficulty for you to log in. Also, enable two-factor authentication to all critical websites and applications that allow it. Next, password reset. So, when passwords are forgotten, the ability to reset your passwords is very convenient. If not utilized properly, this can allow someone to easily take over your account. Some websites do not require any security questions to be answered, nor require additional information besides the account email address to initiate a password reset. Usually when requests the password reset, an email sent to the email address on file with the information. You want to monitor these emails and contact the vendor directly if you see these and you did not initiate them yourself. Remember the spam and phishing rules from earlier. Social networks are most common for this. If someone logs in from a weird location, maybe you go traveling overseas, you'll probably get an email from the social network saying, "Hey, was this you who logged in at this date and time?" It'll say, if not, click no. If yes, click yes. So, it's an extra check that they are putting in place to make sure that it is always you logging into the system. Keep in mind about those phishing emails. They could be pretending to be you, or pretending to be that social network in the hopes that you'll go to the website, confirm some sort of information, then exploit it later. Top tips are: utilize a strong password. Also, utilize strong and not accurate security questions. Then, monitor attempted password resets on your accounts for any sort of fraudulent activity. It's kind of in the same way that people monitor their credit card statement. Whenever they see something out of the ordinary, then they contact the vendor that provided it to find out what's going on. It's the same thing that you want to do with password reset emails that you receive. The best practice would be not just to enter in the email, not just to click the link, but go to the vendor's website directly by typing in the address, and then seeing if there's any alerts that you need to worry about. Next, spam protection. As we know, everyone out there gets spam. Even with the best protection, some still slips through the cracks. Some email providers, of course, have better spam protection than others. There are third-party anti-spam products out there that can supplement the protection provided by the email provider. So, maybe if you don't feel as though your email provider is doing the best job at protecting you from spam, and it gets annoying when you get constant dings on your cell phone, and it's not even email that you should worry about, you can utilize extra levels of defense or applications that can help with this process. Never open the spam emails, even if you think it's funny about the subject line and you really want to see that content inside. Lots of times these spam providers have read receipts, so they know that your email address is legitimate. Same goes with responding to spam emails. Be careful when using your email to sign up for contests or enter websites. Many times they are going to sell that email address to marketing companies and other companies to make money. When posting your email to a public website, add special breaks in your email address. Don't write out your email address with the proper @ sign or the period symbol. The reason is why spam bots are trolling the internet, looking for email addresses. When they find email addresses, they send you spam. If you put your email address in a format similar to this, it makes it much harder for them. Whereas, humans can understand perfectly fine what that is saying. So, some top tips for spam protection is, utilize a different provider or third-party product if necessary. If spam is a major problem, get a product in place that will help prevent even more. Never click, open, or respond to spam messages. When posting email to classified sites, use the following format to keep spam bots from retrieving and using your address. So, once again, there's another example down there. Next, attachment policy. So, when it comes to email attachments are one of the most common ways to get viruses or malware. Even though an attachment might look like a document, Excel file, PDF, it might contain a virus or malware. As we saw from the earlier statistics, quite a lot of people opened attachments from email addresses that they are unsure of, that they have no idea who they are. So, you want to make sure that people in your organization, and that everyone that you know, knows that if you don't know who that email is coming from, don't download the attachment. Put rules in place to prevent certain types of attachment files from being able to be sent or being able to be received. The best approach is to train employees on what attachments can be harmful. So, you have a good understanding of when to open attachments and when you shouldn't, because not only, sometimes, is it the attachment that you download that immediately infects your computer, but sometimes it waits for you to open that attachment, and then maybe there's a macro in the Excel or Word document that's going to be executed once you open the document. Sometimes it might even come from a known sender. If you don't think that it's something you were expecting, or something that they should have sent to you, contact that person first and report. If that person did not intentionally send it to you, they should then reset their passwords and reset their security questions, because they probably had a breach. Some top tips for attachment policies is: combine training with a clear attachment policy for all employees and users. Never open an attachment or save attachments from an unknown sender, or that come from emails that look a little bit fishy. Even though something might look like a file that you do not think is malicious, it doesn't mean it isn't malicious. So, that goes with files that look perfectly fine like, oh, a Word document will never infect me. Or, an Excel document will never infect me. Actually, those are the most common places that infections come from. Then, even though it comes from someone you trust, if it looks a little bit fishy, don't open or save that attachment either. So, we've gone through a lot of content to give you awareness into the cybersecurity industry, but what are some preventative measures that you can take forward and utilize, not just in your business, but your personal life? Utilize an antivirus, or nowadays, they are called anti-malware or endpoint security products. Define a clear attachment policy, coupled with a spam filter, because you want to reduce, not just spam, but phishing emails, malicious emails, and so forth. Implement a web content filter to help with malicious content, inappropriate content, and productivity issues. Utilize unique passwords, not utilizing the same password across multiple websites. Keep all internet-connected devices up to date, including your routers, Internet of Things devices, computers, mobile devices. So, make sure that everything that connects to the Internet is always up to date. If you still have questions, please feel free to reach out to Protego Security Team. Protego thanks you for taking the time and participating in our security awareness training program. Please do not forget to download and sign the form provided in the email.